Today's episode is brought to you by podup.com.
Let's be honest, whether you want to admit it or not, you've probably thought at some point to start a podcast. Podcasts are fun. Podcasts are fun. You and I have a good time on here, Dan.
Just get on, talk junk.
Yeah. I mean, it's some dark content. What we're talking about isn't necessarily fun, but we make it fun. We have a good time, and we would never even met each other if it wasn't for podcasts. So
that's true. Podcasts and Canadians.
Podcasts and Canadians. Little D&D thrown in there. I mean, change your life.
Well, there are about 5 million podcasts out there, and around 90% of those stop after just 3 episodes. That's including about 1.8 million that stop before they even start, which we know a thing or two about that, now, to be fair.
Yeah, we do, unfortunately.
Quite a few still on the drawing room floor. So.
Yeah. And of those that do get started and past that 3 episode mark, about 90% of those don't get past 20 episodes. And there's a reason. Podcasting is hard. Well, successful podcasting is hard.
Yeah, it's not just sitting in front of a microphone and talking for an hour, even though sometimes that's what it is for me. It's recording, audio editing, video editing, social media, promotion, blah, 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 all the stuff that Kevin does.
And I do. And finding and paying for all that software to use can be just as big of a headache, not to mention expensive.
Well, with PodUp, you can have a one-stop shop for everything you need to take your podcast to the next level.
With 35 powerful modules with AI integration and one software, you can create, publish, grow, monetize, and manage your podcast with a simple, easy-to-use interface.
Everything from a site builder and recorder to editing for video and audio, live streams, blogs, and transcriptions.
Legal, newsletters, SEO.
Setting up shops, getting ads and sponsorships.
Managing your workflow, files, and even backing up your content.
Set up an account today and get 14 days free. And even schedule a demo with one of PodUp's podcasting experts to see how to start producing and monetizing your very own podcast.
And when you're ready, use our exclusive coupon code TORTURE15 for 15% off whichever package you decide to go with.
And if you're a professional that's even too busy for that, go to podallies.com.
Yeah, their done-for-you podcast production and marketing service will take care of the dirty work for you.
Dirty. We're talking websites, social media, editing work, SEO, all done for you. So you can just focus on being the star of the show, like me, and getting on with your day, unlike Kevin, who has to do all the work.
That's why everybody comes is for Dan. And this team of experts will use PodUp software to put your podcast on the map where it belongs. See, they're using PodUp software. It's all one big circle. It's always coming back around.
Like opposite of a square.
That's right.
So, go to podup.com and podallies.com and use our coupon TORTURE15 for 15% off. That's TORTURE15 for 15% off.
Podup.com, the ultimate podcasting platform. The subject of today's episode is a beast of burden that was pivotal in the expansion of human civilization for travel, agriculture, and execution. These majestic giants of the animal kingdom were used by kings and conquerors, armies and rebellions to inflict pain and torment in the name of fear, justice, or just a horrible accident. We'll learn how exactly they were used so successfully in all these roles because of their strength, weight, and size, which was measured not in feet or yards, but in hands. From the days of Nero and the Christian persecution, allegedly, through the Middle Ages in Europe, to Genghis Khan in the Middle East and Asia, and over to the Americas, both north and south, they will drag you, rip you in half, or fourths, trample you, or bring on memories of Star Wars. Today, our Season 3 premiere, we give you horses. I'm Kevin Young.
And I'm the real deal Daddy Dan.
And this is Torture.
It's a good timing, Smudge. She introduced herself too, just as you
Yeah.
said this is Torture.
Oh man, last episode, you did your spiel. And it took a second for the microphone to pick up my laughing, and in the process, thank you so much. It's like you can hear her a few times through the episode. I'd give my wife the headphones and be like, "Listen to this shit."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh."
See, when she hasn't seen me all day, she gets really she was freaking out when we collected her from the we had them in boarding over the weekend.
Oh, okay.
And the house has been shown. It's 2 weekends in a row we've had them in boarding, and there's only one girl working when I went to collect them, and she said, "Oh, I'll go try and get them for you now." I was like, "Do you want me to give you a hand just to be sure?" She goes, "Oh yeah, please, yeah." I was like, "Okay, cool." So I went in, and as soon as she opened the door, she could see me, and she's like, "Rah!" It's like, okay. I was like, I turned around to her and I said, "That's the quiet one." And she usually is. I mean, Suddy walks around the house wailing for no reason at all. But we call her the mouse for a reason, and she's proven me wrong at every turn on that. Kevin, we are the World Tag Team Champions of the WWE.
That's right. Torture Tag Team Champions.
That's where the real deal Daddy Dan came from. That's my announcer name in it.
Oh, for those of you who don't know, Dan recently started playing WWE. Is it 2K24?
2K24. Yeah, I got it to play with a friend of mine. I haven't played any wrestling games in a long time, and it's fun. It's good fun. I'm pretty shit at it, But obviously, we're a tag team in it.
Yeah,
and we are the tag team champions.
Yeah.
And I didn't even make us that way. I simulated all this shit, and I made us champions. I'm like, yeah. Got that lovely photo of the two of us holding up belts.
I showed my wife. I was like, he says I'm the bigger one, And she's like, oh, okay. And then I was like, this is the horror stuff that he has for me. And she goes, he made you fucking fat.
No, I didn't. That's the that's the fucking thing that's on it, because it's the exact same. It was actually really funny though, because if you can't see it, but it's actually the exact same kind of base body thing I use for my one too, except all I did is you have like this fucking like bloody apron, leather apron.
Yeah, it's like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre style leather apron that he's wearing.
So it's not my fault that as soon as it hits the fucking buckle, it goes out like I must try and get
he made
photo.
You fucking fat.
Yeah. Like, sure, look. Deal with it, Stephanie.
The last wrestling game we've played, the one we own is like Raw versus SmackDown 2011. So
right. I think the last one I owned was No Mercy on the N64. So
yeah, so it's fine. Oh shit!
I'm trying to find that picture now because I know I sent it to you and I was going to put it up on on my background. Here you go. I found it. Right. Now how do I save it? Download. Oh yeah, here you go. Fuck these motherfuckers behind me. We're gonna have something far cooler as the background. And if you want to see it, you gotta subscribe.
Cast of Yellowstone. And I have Quick Draw McGraw and Baba Louie.
And it ain't where I saved it.
Old enough to remember.
Yeah, I haven't got a fucking clue who the hell they are. So, like I said, I saw the picture of the other dude, the Zorro type guy. But
El Kabong!
Yeah.
I feel like Quick Draw McGraw is a very American thing. So I was like, he's not going to have any idea who the fuck this is. I feel like
you never know.
A white horse standing on its back legs, carrying a gun, shooting people in the Wild West with a Mexican burro for a sidekick is about as American as it gets.
I can't put the image on, so look, y'all are just gonna have to live in suspense.
I might be able to post it on Instagram. I always say I'll post the photos on Instagram, and then I completely forget to post the photos on Instagram until we get to the next episode that we're recording. I'm like, I forgot to post those photos. So I'll say right now, I'll post photos on Instagram and then completely forget. So if there's anybody out there that would like to remind me, any of our listeners that follow us on Instagram, be like, hey, post those photos. That might help. Just shoot me a DM. Be like, post the
and while
fucking
you're
photos,
at it,
dude.
like, rate, and review. Hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon, people.
Punch that bell.
Tell you what, it's a hell of a lot quicker to go. Just click that little thingy there. It takes just as long to do that as it does for you to skip the ad that I know you're skipping every single time it comes up. So,
yeah, true. This episode brought to you by podup.com.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I don't have not a whole lot going on the past couple weeks to talk about. So,
nah, not except
you've been a lot busier than me.
But yeah, just driving a van, moving shit.
Yeah.
You know? Being really, really fucking tired doing it. Making the greatest tag team champions in the world.
Goddamn right.
Stuff like that. You know, yeah.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Nah, sadly, I'm a little bit on the boring side. In that sense, I'll probably think of something.
I'm sure the second we get off of here, it's gonna be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to the grocery store and you can't remember what you want. The best way to remember what you need at the grocery store when you forget is to go home.
Yep. The amount of times I've literally walked home, put the bag down, and
God damn it!
And I've actually had to go back.
How far of a walk is it for you?
Nah, it's not far at all. It's actually more disgraceful. The fact that I drive is disgusting. The fact that I drive, considering how close it is. But sometimes it depends what you're getting. I don't be walking back carrying a load of stuff. Yeah, if I'm going over for one or two things, maybe. But
yeah.
Actually, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna drive over like, most of the time. Because usually when I'm going, it's going to go get some beer or some fat shit like chocolate or something like that.
Right.
You know, so I'm like, I'm not gonna drive. Or it's like, I'm on that beer, better go over.
I always drive to the grocery store. I mean, we live across town from it. It would only be probably a 15, 17 minute walk, but probably longer than that. Maybe 20 minutes. But usually when I need to go to the grocery store, it's like, shit, I need this real quick. So I run to get it and get back before, I'm done cooking, whatever it is. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
Look, we're allowed to be lazy. We're
goddamn right.
Yeah, we're hard-working podcasters.
That's right.
So, look, now that we're
earned our
tag team champions of the world, we can make it even easier. We can get people to get shit for us instead. Yeah.
Take the tour bus on down.
That's it.
Okay. Well, I want to start off this episode with a little conversation had with our newest patron, Inquisitor Sam Brer, which I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Sam. I saw that he had signed up and sent him standard thank you for signing up message that everyone gets. Personalized, of course. And I noticed that they had paid in pounds. So, Dan, I let you know about this. And do you remember what you said to me when I said, he paid in pounds?
He's probably going to fucking love me. Something like that, I think.
He said, you said, damn English. He could be Northern Irish. I'll find out. I'll fucking find him.
Actually, that's exactly what I said.
That's exactly what, and I can hear you saying it.
I'm pretty sure I read that exact thing back to my wife in that exact tone.
I'll fucking find him. Oh, he messaged us back after that and said, "Thank you. And also, I haven't been listening long, but I'm a big fan. I have enjoyed the humor. It's right up my alley, and I've introduced it to other people, but instead they just gave me concerning looks. Welcome to the club." It's kind of one of the reasons I don't tell a whole lot of people that I know about this show. It's because I don't want to get the looks.
Yeah, my manager asked me, you do podcasts? What is it about?
Nothing. Nothing. Don't listen. Don't worry about it. Yeah. But instead, and also as a British person, I do really enjoy the way you insult the British people. Just remember that you said that.
Yeah. That's just after opening the gate. Just letting all the cows run out now. It's on now, Donkey Kong.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have said we're, or I had said not we're. I had said he a few times. I don't know if it tells me specifically that this is a man or a woman, because Sam is kind of an ambidextrous word.
Sam can write with both hands.
If that's really the same word, if that's really the word I'm looking for, is ambidextrous.
Let us know, Sam. Are you ambidextrous? Let us know. Because it'll make stop Kevin from looking like an ass. Yeah,
that's not the word I was looking for.
Well, right with my right, but I wipe with my left.
I assume their gender, and I apologize. It's just the first thing that came to my head. Anyway, speaking of
Sam,
which,
I was going to say, you can identify as whatever gender you want. This is between me and you right now, right? I'm looking at the camera. I'm looking at you. If you're a man, cool. If you're a woman, cool. If you want to identify as a toaster, that's cool. But you're British.
Let's talk about the real issue here. The fact that you're British.
What's that on the back of my neck? It feels like a boot. I'm cool. Welcome to the party.
Dan, well, really, when was the last time genuinely
dear.
the English had their boot on the neck of the Irish? I mean,
probably during a soccer match or some shit like that. But,
Northern Irish, I get. They're still kind of...
Nah, they're 50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's massively divided up there. Sam knows what I'm talking about, I'm sure. We won't go mentioning the war, literally and figuratively. It's still a powder keg up there kind of thing, you know. There's all this shit happening to do with, you know, the way Britain left the EU. And it's a really funny thing, actually, because Scotland wanted independence and they got the chance to vote. And they voted no. The primary reason, apparently, that they voted no was because they wanted to stay within the EU. 2 years later, or so, my math might be completely off. Could be about 17 years later, I don't know. Great Britain as a whole left the EU. So that means Scotland along with them. And now there's all this load of shit about people saying, they wanted to get their own independence again and blah, blah, blah. And just potentially the same thing for Northern Ireland. But then it's like, will Northern Ireland become part of the Republic? Will it stay on its own? And blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of funny because nobody wants them, even though we love them. But we don't want them because realistically, financially, we can't afford them. Nobody can afford them.
Yeah.
I'd like it if they stayed their own thing and got support from the EU. You know, I like Northern Ireland. I think it's actually a gorgeous part of the country. You have the funniest accents going on the whole lot of us. Probably one of the best accents as well. Yeah. Yeah. Such a great accent.
Was that the Charlie Hunnam accent in
yeah.
Rebel Moon?
Yeah, and parts of it all right. Yeah, that's actually really funny, yeah, because the more I watched that, there was parts of it, to be fair to him, he started getting really good at it. There was a couple of words that were really bad in his first few sentences, and I was like, oh. Yeah. But then eventually he was grand. You know, it was actually pretty decent. What are you doing there now? That was a really bad attempt at it. That was nearly, I don't know. I can't do it on the spot for some reason. I don't want to play D&D all the time. I was fucking giving my bad guys Northern Irish accents.
Yeah. Oh, well, then you can't do a French accent on the spot either. It always turns out German.
Oh, get down, get to the chopper now.
And Dan, something we had spoke about, I can't remember if it was after the show or before the show last time, about our Pride merch. So we have quite a bit of Pride merch on our Redbubble, and I feel like we should maybe do a little bit more with it. It shouldn't just be like, hey, I'm going to put the the Pride flag on there so we could sell a bunch of stuff. I feel like we should actually, do something with this, because we have got like 6 or 7 different Pride flags on there, mixed with our torture emblem, plus the For Everyone shirts with the rainbow T and all that shit. I feel like we should be doing something with that. So from now on, here on out, it's not just like a Pride Month thing, because that was in June and it is now July. So it'd be too late to do it anyway. From here on out, any merch on our Redbubble that has Pride in the title, all the profits from that merch will be donated to the Trevor Project for at-risk LGBTQ plus youth. If you don't know what the Trevor Project is, it is the leading suicide prevention and crisis intervention nonprofit organization for LGBTQ plus youth. They provide information and support to LGBTQ plus young people 24/7 all year round. So if you can, mugs, shower curtains, T-shirts, bumper stickers, doesn't matter what you get. If it's got Pride in the title, the money for that we get will go straight to them. They'll probably do like if we get a bunch, it'll be something we collect for like a month and then make one donation. Not gonna make one donation every other day because purchase. So
Makes sense.
It'd be like one big thing a month. It just, I don't know, for some reason felt like the right thing to do. So that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah. I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty damn sweet. I would love to
I brought
hear.
it up to you last. I brought it up to you last time. You're like, for all the Irish merch, can you just get sent to me?
No, I said no. Actually, what I said was I wanted it to be sent to help fund the rebellion. Is what it was.
Oh, that's right.
Basically, to help get rid of those damn British. That's what it was.
But you're independent.
Yeah.
You already won.
No, yeah. So.
You already won. You're good.
It's all good, yeah.
I think you're good.
But yeah, speaking of merch, are we going to cash in on all this shit? Are we going to have like a T-shirt of like the fucking breast ripper with Hockta spit on that thing before? All that shit is fucking irritating at this stage.
She has blown up, and it is ridiculous. And then I saw that she did an interview with someone, and they're like asking her all these questions about rumors that they heard. She's like, that's not true. That's not true.
But about her father.
Of course it's not true. It's fucking social media.
Yeah.
But I guess she's like
out just having a good
time.
Like, she's just out having a good time, being able to just say what she wants, free speech and all that shit. But now she's famous because she talked about spitting on a dick. So...
Somebody had posted, I think it was on TikTok, commented on a video. It's like, so she's talking about spitting on a dick, and all of a sudden now she's famous. I was like, hey, it worked for the Kardashians. I don't know what's the difference. What's the difference? They have money. I mean, come on.
Next level.
I guess she has like
shitting on a dick, and then that'll be
I guess she's got like a contract with a country singer now or something to.
Oh yeah, she was brought up
collaborate.
to do the Hockta thing.
Yeah, she's a Trumper, from what I understand. So that kills it for me. I'm out.
Bye.
No, thank you.
No Hockta for us.
No, thank you. All right, Dan, what do you know about horses? I always ask you if you know anything about the subject, and I would like to know, do you know anything about horses?
Fun facts for you, Kevin.
Oh boy.
I came prepared today with a link I opened up just before we started the recording. I was meant to look into these beforehand, except for the fact that I was busy. But that's no excuse. I could have done it. But anyway, I didn't. But anyway, what I know about horses, aside from them being amazing, gracious,
beautiful,
gorgeous looking animals and fucking lunatics all at the same time, I have here 10 fun facts about horses.
Fucking
which
A.
I will be going through periodically throughout this episode.
Yeah, don't blow your load all at once. Yeah.
That's what she said, but it never works that way. I can't choose to do it periodically in that sense. So sorry, honey. But I will be doing that throughout the stage. So you asked me what do I know about horses. Pick a number between 1 and 10, my good man, and I'll tell you now. We'll all learn something about horses.
Well, let's get started with it right now. Before I get into it, number 8. Give me number 8.
Apparently, horses have great long-term memories. They can recall things they have learned years later without any refreshers of what they learned between learning and recalling.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hear that? Horses are smarter than your teenage children.
They're also smarter than your husband. What was that they asked me to pick up in the shop there a couple of minutes ago, honey? Because I can't remember. I only left 3 minutes ago. And the horse is sitting there in the corner looking at you like, man.
You literally forgot the thing I sent you. You brought all this extra shit home. You forgot the one thing I sent you there for. You're worse than a horse.
Yep.
Pretty much. It happens literally every time I go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to think it's an issue.
That's about all I know
all
now.
Right.
That and they go clip clop.
Clip clop. And they shit literally everywhere.
Yeah.
Unless you have a little baggie back there to catch it. But then it gets catches half of it and the rest of it falls on the ground. Oh, fuck. All right, Dan, let's take you back to September 1792 in Rio Bueno, Chile. You are a friar by the name of Antonio Curcoa, and you lead a Franciscan mission there near the Bueno River. The Spanish settlers, like yourself, Antonio, were less than welcome. About 140 years earlier, the Spanish, on a slave hunting expedition, went to war with the indigenous Huachite people and lost. But they decided to build a fort there anyways. Now, the mission was established much later in 1767. Well, as the story goes, the native Huachite named Felipe obtained a letter from the governor of Valdivia. That was addressed to you. And apparently,
Personally?
the letter said that
Personally?
Personally addressed to Dan Hourigan.
I'm sorry, but hold on. He took the time to personally address me in a letter, yet y'all can't hit that review button.
You just some guy in a trench coat and a hat walks up to you while you're standing next to a billboard and he hands you a letter. It's from the governor of Valdivia. I mean, he's back in 1767, but he's alive. The doc's alive. It's to be continued or to be concluded. It's a Back to the Future reference, people. We don't get them often. Come on.
No, because I don't remember half the stuff enough to reference Back to the Future. I need to watch it again. It's been a while.
It's so good. It's one of the best trilogies.
Oh, yeah.
Because all the movies are good. Third one's not as good as the first two, obviously, but all of them are good.
I actually really like the third one. Good.
It's all right. It's definitely not my favorite. I would definitely put it third in the line.
I was always a big Western fan. So as a kid.
I love Westerns.
Yeah, so when I was a kid and I saw it, I was like, this is the best thing ever. He's going around with horses and shit. And it's like, oh, he's got his flying skateboard by horses.
Oh, it took sci-fi and Westerns.
Time traveling train. So,
with the kid who's pointing at his dick. Have you ever seen that?
What? No.
Yeah, the end of near the end of the movie when
it's Doc with his wife and the two kids.
Doc Brown and his wife and the two kids show up on the train. Then when they zoom in, the kid's like points down at his crotch.
Yeah.
Taps it a couple times. Like, look at this.
Yeah.
You can see what I got down here.
Stupid kids. Never work with kids or animals. Except
Never
for
work
horses,
with kids or
in
animals.
this case. Very good.
Now, apparently, in this letter, it said that the true purpose of the mission was to, quote, lull the Indians in the confidence of peace, to give death to their warriors and reduce more easily the peoples into slavery. Now, it should be mentioned that this claim was not true in any way, but it did enough to stoke the fire of an uprising. Natives began assaulting and killing Spanish settlers, torching houses and stealing animals. And you, friar, well, since you were seen as one of the ringleaders of this whole mess, you would face an even worse punishment. Now, the details are a little fuzzy, but they found you, most likely at the mission, rustled you outside, stripped you naked, tied you to the back of a, quote, vigorous horse, and then let the horse run. And it would drag you all over the countryside, your body being impaled with twigs, branches, thorns from bushes, your head and body bashing against rocks and sturdy foliage, the skin being ripped from your body as it skidded over the rough ground. They would let this horse run, quote, until you ceased to exist. Now, this was one of the many ways horses were used to torture and kill.
So I'm sorry, I'm a simple friar working at the first White Castle here. Like, and somebody had a complaint about my burgers, and they're just fucking dragging my ass out here in a horse.
Yeah, something like that.
Suspicious.
Yep, something like that. How about number 5?
You're running.
Give me...
Like if they're running and they're dragging you behind, I wonder like if they take a shit, just add insult to injury or something. They get dragged through that. I wonder if it'd be actually nicer because it might be a bit softer than the gravel.
Can a horse shit while it runs, or does it have to stop and walk?
I don't know. Wonder now if he was running so fast that he stopped and put on the brakes, and then the guy goes like skidding underneath his ass, and he like takes shit on top from like something like in one of the greatest movies ever made, The Three Amigos. I'm pretty sure
Amigos.
Something like that happens in that, but maybe not.
Does it just stop? And then, like, you fly forward and then face right into the asshole?
And I'm pretty damn sure if it happened to either of us, that would be exactly what would happen. The laws of physics would be defied, and we'd just be, like, straight into it. Yeah.
According to
then we both be
Google
ambidextrous.
AI, yes, horses can defecate while running or exercising.
Cool. Or exercising. Is the fucking horse going up a Stairmaster or some shit? Like, yes.
Well,
Jump on a treadmill.
They've gotten into yoga real big.
Ah, cool. All right.
Haven't you seen the
Stupid
pants?
Horses. Yeah. Fucking horse wearing those yoga pants would be fucking hilarious.
Well, which begs the question, do they just wear them on their front legs, on their back legs, or all 4 legs?
Or just on their back legs up around the arse, you see. Up to around just beyond their hind.
And then they pull them real tight so you can see
you know.
each cheek individually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just feels like I'm wearing nothing at all. Number
Go ahead
5,
and
though,
us...
you asked me. Yeah, number 5.
Yes, give us
right,
number
so
5.
Apparently now, I can't guarantee this is a fact, even though it just says 10 facts, right? But studies have shown that horses recognize positive and negative emotions in humans. That's kind of been a known thing, though, I think, for quite a while. Not the whole thing they say,
yeah,
the horse can
like
sense if you're
probably
scared,
true.
and they get nervous if you're getting on if you're scared of them. Because they're,
Yeah,
you know,
I feel that's pretty true. I feel that's true of a lot of quote-unquote domesticated animals. Or
I think it's true of
period.
anything. Yeah, I think it's
because if you walk up to something and you're obviously nervous, they can sense that.
Yeah.
They can read body language and, you know.
Yeah, like they're not plants, like, you know what I mean? They don't, you know, they're able to gauge what's going on around them. You know, it's, yeah.
Like, well, this guy looks terrified.
Yeah.
How do I want to play this? Do I scare him more? Do I just go, and the guy's like, ah!
So yeah, the horses would be.
Now, oddly enough, the only other verified horse dragging deaths I was really able to find that didn't go along with our second form of torture and execution happened in just the past few years. Some purposeful, some accidental. So 13-year-old Akash, and depending on which news story you read, and I'm pretty sure they're the same person, otherwise this little prefecture in India has a real problem on their hands, because some of them say he was 10 years old, some of them say he was 13-year-old. But in October of 2015, Akash was tied to the back of a horse in Kanpur Dehat district of India. Now, allegedly, he had an altercation with someone in the neighborhood a few days earlier, which led to an argument between the families. When Akash had gone to take cattle feed from the nearby forest, he was grabbed, tied to the back of a horse, which then dragged him for an undisclosed distance, and he succumbed to his injuries before they could get him to the hospital. Back December of 2022, an 8-year-old boy on vacation with his family in Belize was on a horseback riding expedition when the horse got spooked and began to run. The boy, Stefan Curran, fell off and was dragged for almost 2 miles on gravel pavement on his back and head.
I thought you were going to say 2 months, the way you paused on the end there.
Christ.
2 months. I was like, you're going to say months, everybody!
He's still going. Stefan suffered 3rd-degree burns on his back, arms, and legs, and required surgery to replace part of his scalp. There is kind of more of a happy ending to this one. He did not die. Where he was hospitalized at there in Belize, they weren't able to take care of him the way he needed. He wasn't getting the type of care he needed. And in order to get him out, they would have to helivac him out, which was going to cost them literally tens of thousands of dollars that they did not have. They ran a GoFundMe, which was not able to come up with the amount of money. But there is a man, I guess they're from Colorado. There's a man who owned the helivac company in Colorado, saw the story on the news, said, I can help, went down, flew him back up for free. So
I thought you were going to say he went down and rode him there on horseback to there. Horrible twist of irony. Yeah.
Oh. And then most recently, on June 25th of this year, so just a few days ago, which was crazy when I was looking through this. It was like I had a few stories, then all of a sudden a brand new one pops up out of nowhere. I was like, oh, fuck. A 9-year-old Amish girl was training a horse with a lead wrapped around her wrist when the horse again got spooked, took off, dragging her along for about a quarter of a mile. Unfortunately, she did die at the hospital of multiple traumatic injuries, probably including being stepped on by the horse. There is a chance that the Klan, and you know who I'm talking about, used this form of execution on those they hated, but more than likely they used cars or trucks.
The modern equivalent.
Yeah. But that's just, I'm not getting all true crimey and trying to bring everybody down with the child death. I know I apologize. I do that every once in a while. I bring everybody down. But it just goes to show that these are big, beautiful animals that any little thing could happen at any time. It doesn't have to be somebody doing it to you.
They're big, strong, and it's like having like one of those big ass dogs. You can't ever 100% fully know up to a certain point. You know, like, don't they do seem to have this thing where they kind of tend to bond with people, but like you can't guarantee that even if that's there. You know what I mean? That if you touch something in the wrong place, that's it. It's going to kick. You know,
how many? We have absolutely no idea how many cowboys or ranchers or anything have been dragged by their horses because snake popped up or something, and
or they walked around behind it in
off
the wrong place. Yeah, it's shit like that.
You know, unless you're a 800-pound man being dragged behind these things, they're not even going to know you're back there dragging you along. So, just kind of these are kind of examples of how powerful these things can be, and we'll get more into how big and strong they are in a little while. Dragging someone behind a horse wasn't always the main way of torturing or killing someone. Sometimes it was used as a transportation method to get a person to a torture or execution, which brings us to the most famous of all horse-related punishments, being hanged, drawn, and quartered. Now, this one to me just barely makes the list of horse-related torture methods because in the majority of the cases, with few exceptions, which we'll get to in a little bit, by the time the person was tied up to the horses, they were already dead. It's kind of an afterthought. So,
desecration, kind of.
Yeah, we'll get to a couple where they weren't, which sound horrible. But for the most part, if horses were even used for the drawing and quartering, obviously they were used for the drawing because the drawing is the actual act of taking the person from one spot to another, being pulled or drawn behind a horse. But it's not always as bad as what it sounds like. All right, how about you give us number 3?
Cool. I just had this mental image of a horse drawing, as in, right? A horse drawing.
You're going to be drawn and quartered.
A horse
Sit down.
drawing a person. Or a person drawing a horse, drawing a horse, drawing a person.
This is Pablo. He will do your caricature art before you are hanged.
Where is it? Which number is it? 3?
Yeah.
When exposed to lavender-scented air, heart rates in horses lower, feeling calmer while exposed to the lavender. Do you have any sense to help calm you down? All these facts, by the way, are thanks to opensanctuary.org/fun facts about horses.
I like chamomile. I'm not a huge fan of lavender myself.
It's like a fucking what you call it? It's like a herbal essences ad or something. It's like a shampoo ad nearly.
I like the sense that you get in thebeardstruggle.com. Use our exclusive coupon code Torture19 at checkout for up to 19%
Lovely
off.
segue.
That is beardstruggle.com.
Sort your fucking beard out. But I'm kind of like that though. With there are certain things, just it's no like way. There's one that I can never place. Whenever I get it, it's kind of like, oh yeah, it's good. Probably I think it kind of brings mental memories of when I was happy, when I was a child. Stuff like that. Back when I was playing WWE No Mercy on my N64.
So lucky that your wife doesn't listen to this show. It reminds me of times of when I was happy.
One of the problems with growing a beard is proper beard care. Going on a website or even to a brick and mortar store and seeing dozens of different options, whether it be oils, washes, balms, lotions, razors, butters, or just a massive amount of different companies all trying to sell you virtually the same product with a different logo. It can be difficult and overwhelming.
And even worse, see, I already fucked it up. And even worse so if you're trying to buy beard products for someone else. Well, thebeardstruggle.com has made that process infinitely easier with their beard kits and bundles.
Anything from a simple oil kit that gives you day tonic and night elixir,
to the complete beard care bundle that gives you the day and night oils, beard shampoo, beard conditioner, beard balm, and the Viking Sea Mineral Beard Mask.
The beard growth bundle that comes with the Voxter Growth Accelerator and the Derma Roller.
To Cracky Shave Kit that gives you everything you need to keep your beard short and trimmed up.
To the mother of all beard kits, the Apex Bundle 2.0. that comes with 15 different products, including the heated beard brush and straightener.
And if you're still just not sure what bundle to get, you can take their beard routine quiz, and the Beard Struggle will tell you what the best beard care routine and products are for your specific beard type and price range.
The Beard Struggle takes the confusion out of what to get. Anyway, the Beard Struggle takes the... reading the ad struggle. The Beard Struggle takes the confusion out of what to get for your beard or that special beard wearer in your life.
And the best part is, since it's a bundle, you save money.
And with our exclusive discount code, TORTURE19, that's TORTURE 19, you'll save even more, 19% at checkout. And with their 90-day money-back guarantee, you have absolutely nothing to worry about.
And since they never test on animals, you can feel good supporting an ethical company that also produces a quality product.
TheBeardStruggle.com. Do what's right for your beard. Do what's right for your face. Sort your fucking beard out.
So let's go back to the first recorded example of such punishment. Well, it all started with not the king you would normally think of when you think of torture. That would be more Edward I or Henry VIII. But Henry III, the otherwise enlightened monarch, more concerned with making money than torturing people. Well, in 1241, he established the punishment for treason as being hanged, drawn, and quartered. Now, according to the English chronicler Matthew Paris, this punishment started off in 1238, with the assailant being dragged or drawn behind the horse to their place of execution, beheaded, and then divided into 3 parts, so not quartered, technically, thirded. Each of which
really
was to be dragged.
That's what it was. So your man is
That's as far up as my math goes.
Pick number 2, my lord.
We forfeited him. You what? We made him into 4/4.
3 parts. Damn British. Can't count.
Each of which was to be dragged through one of the principal cities of England, then hung on a gibbet, or sort of gallows used to hang robbers and pirates, and left for an example.
And the Irish.
And the Irish, there you go.
Yep.
Then in 1242, Henry ordered the death of William de Marisco, who had killed a man that was under royal protection. After de Marisco was captured, he was dragged behind a horse from Westminster to the Tower of London, or about 3.5 miles, then hanged until dead, body disemboweled, entrails burned, and body quartered. So at this point they were close, but not quite there yet as to what it would become.
Don't say that guy probably holds the world record for the quickest trip ever between Westminster and the Tower. Yeah, because it takes the average person about 6 hours now, I'd say.
Well, they would go on to say, in a lot of the articles I read, like a 3 to 3.5 mile trip took almost 3 hours. It's like, now listen, I don't know a lot about horses, but I know they walk faster than 1 mile an hour. So how it's taking that long to go 3.5 miles?
Because did you ever play games like Skyrim or anything like that? You've played those sort of
some stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, there's this classic thing that happens in the likes of Skyrim where you could be standing here and you could literally see the gates of the town you want to go into, and you just have to walk from here to there, but you go all over the place on your horse, looking at you're like when cats see a fly. That's what you're like, So of course it takes you 3 hours to get there because you go every other fucking place in the world other than there, and I'm assuming that's what everybody did. Excuse me. back then when they're on horses. So that's what I do when I'm in a video game on horses, playing Red Dead. Be like, hey, go over here, go kill that John Marston guy or whatever. And then next thing you're just like, doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo.
It was like that Cabela's Big Game Hunter. From the time it takes you to walk from one tree to the other, it had gotten dark and 3 hours had passed. Yeah. Because time in a video game goes faster.
Yep.
Now, when I had originally decided to do horses as a subject, I didn't realize just how much shit there was information-wise on hanged, drawn, and quartered. Not to mention literal centuries of its use from multiple countries. But there are other things I want to talk about when it came to horses, so I just stuck with it. So, Dan, we had talked a little bit before about the show. What I think we might do is record another episode at some point about hanged, drawn, and quartered, and maybe release it as a Patreon exclusive or something. We don't have any Patreon exclusive episodes except for, I think, the outlawing episode where it's just your side of the conversation because I forgot to press record.
That is going. I'm sure that's a glorious episode.
Which, if you want to be a podcaster and you want to practice, you got Dan right there just carrying one side of the conversation. You just zoom in there and you pick up the other side, and it's like you're having a convo with Dan, and you can practice your podcasting skills.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all I do is sit there
that's
going,
how
yeah.
we should market it.
Yeah.
Want to be a podcaster? Take this class.
It's literally
It's a master
2.5
class,
hours
I
of
can't
me
hold it.
saying, yep, fuck the British, yep.
Fucking insane.
Yeah. Well,
Good
look,
God.
that's the thing, though. So again, now to kind of go back to our newest best friend, Sam, whatever your sex may be and whatever your orientation or preference may be, judge Kevin accordingly based on how he acted. But they better be ready for an awful lot of Brit bashing then in that case, because my God, there was an awful lot in that, and one extremely famous case of it, which is somebody that we Irish always get behind, especially since we had Mel Gibson playing him in a movie filmed here. So yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll get to him in a little bit.
That's the reason I didn't say anything, because I want people to be going, oh, and then Kevin will bring them up later on. See, I knew that was going to be a thing. We haven't to ruin anything. Well,
So the outlawing episode, we focused mostly on the Iron Man down in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fucking brilliant. I still have to watch that, actually.
Yeah. But there's a ton of stuff about hanged, drawn, and quartered. But we're in too deep. I was in too deep to turn back. I had already given the hint that it was going to be horses. So
Yeah. Well, look.
Fuck it. We can always we can always do another episode.
To be
Heaven
fair, we have mentioned other, let's say, killers and stuff like that, where we say, look, we breeze over them saying, look, yeah, it's similar to something that this guy did.
Yeah.
But we're going to do an episode all about that guy. So
I say that probably 3 times in this episode. Of other people and times that we will cover.
We're going to cover
at some point.
That horse that went around murdering all those people that time.
Yeah.
The Great Horse Bandit of 1842.
It's crazy though. Before he'd kill him, he'd draw him.
Yep. They found these lovely little caricatures stuck to the bodies.
Pictures of cowboys with giant heads and itty bitty bodies driving around in go-karts and slam dunking basketballs all over the places.
That's
and
how basketball was invented.
To their bloody foreheads.
Then he shit on them when he ran.
Oh, let's see. We've done 8, 5, and 3. Give me number 10. I want to hear number 10.
Hold on. Cool. Horses can hear much higher frequencies of sound than humans can, much like the ultrasonic of a bat. And humans can hear low frequencies that horses cannot hear. So, now, if you want to sneak up on a horse, do that shit really low.
Yeah.
Like, be like
Just
talking Morgan Freeman or something, you know.
Yeah, they can't hear Morgan Freeman. They can't hear Barry White.
Yeah. Okay. Just talk like this.
Now, what hanged, drawn, and quartered would be this. First, you are sat in a sled of some sort, sometimes called a hurdle. And that is tied to the back of the horse, which then takes you to the hangman's noose. It was a way of letting the people jeer at you and throw shit in your general direction before you were killed.
Shame.
Yeah.
Shame.
Ching, 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 ching. Shame. Wait till I take off this clothing and you realize that I'm a smoke show. Have you seen her? My God. Now, once there, I was like, what did I write? Okay.
Once they are.
Once who? Huh?
Hence
once
they be.
They're. Two ones or not two ones? That is the question. Now, once there, the noose is placed around your neck and you are lifted off the ground. You hang there, kicking and struggling until everything begins to go black and you almost lose complete consciousness. Then you are released. And with a roaring fire beneath you, you are disemboweled and usually castrated, leaving your innards to fall into the fire, letting you watch your guts and genitals burn as you die from blood loss. Sometimes, depending on the form of treason you commit, you will also have your heart cut out and thrown in as well. Then you are beheaded, and your limbs are either cut off or are tied to 4 different horses, and they are sent pulling in 4 different directions. Many times the horses wouldn't completely pull you apart, and an axeman would be needed to be employed to hack at your limbs one by one as they pulled. Your limbs were then parboiled in a blend of spices designed to preserve the flesh for as long as possible and sent to the 4 corners of the country to be displayed for all to see to demonstrate the absolute power of the monarchy. I'm thinking basil, I'm thinking
I was going to say, what's this, like the Colonel's
onions.
12 secret spices, like Kentucky Fried Forearm or some shit, like you passing
you
out buckets
know,
at the executions.
At some point, you got some guy standing outside where they're doing this going, man, that smells fucking good. Getting goddamn hungry. Haven't had a piece of bread in 3 days. And
better get myself a piece of ass.
And again, this was usually...
spit on that thing and then just shove it in.
Now, again, this was usually done for treason with some other crimes mixed in. And treason could be anything from killing or attempting to kill the king or other royalty or people under the protection of royalty to trying to fuck the queen or fuck the king's eldest daughter or trying to fuck the king's eldest son's wife.
Or trying to fuck
those
the king,
were all
or trying to fuck the king's dog, or trying to cook
those were
fuck
all
the
listed in treason, trying to,
or
do that.
Believing in the wrong religion this time of the week, depending on who's in charge. And they ran out of doors to try and shove on your face.
To simply undermining the king's authority. Now, the first instance of which was inflicted in 1283 on the Welsh prince David ap Gruffydd for several crimes. And it's Welsh, so I'm sure that
sheep fucking
name sounds nothing like the way it's spelled.
He fucked the king's sheep. That's what the Welsh do, apparently. They invented a Velcro suit for a reason.
Well, for deciding to call himself the Prince of Wales, he directly went against the king, now Edward I, who was not a good man. I think Edward I was also known as Longshanks. He's a bad dude. Again, somebody who will get his own episode or multi-episode series at some point. Drawn for treason, hanged for homicide, disemboweled for sacrilege, and beheaded and quartered for plotting the king's death, His right arm was set to York, left arm to Bristol, right leg to Northampton, and left leg to Hereford, the head mounted on a spear at the Tower of London. Each little punishment kind of goes with its own crime, and it was called like the punishment of 4 deaths or the punishment of 3 deaths, because each one is you being drawn as being seen as a death, even though you're just being pulled behind a horse on a sled. Being half hanged is seen as a death. People just throw stuff at you.
Yeah.
And then being beheaded, disemboweled is seen as a death. Being beheaded and quartered is seen as its own death. So,
it's funny if one of them turned around and was like, as soon as they cut him open, he's getting disemboweled. He's like, "Joke's on you, motherfuckers. I was a miserable bastard. You're doing me a favor."
Oh, they just go, no, don't do it. They think the disembowel. You're like, yes, finally, the pain is over. Because it's the 13th century in England and everything's horrible.
I was going to die within 6 months of some form of disease anyway.
Yeah, I have long to live. I just found out I have a cold, so I'm a doomed man anyways. Then, of course, there is Sir William Wallace, Scottish knight and leader of the First War of Scottish Independence, who in 1305 was drawn for treason, hanged for robbery and homicide, disemboweled for sacrilege, beheaded as an outlaw, and quartered for divers depredations, or various crimes. His limbs were sent to Newcastle, Berwick, Stirling, and Perth, and head was displayed on London Bridge. It's like, where are we sending these? I don't know. Pick a spot.
Ye old UPS. Stick it out there.
Well, the legs and arms arrived, but the head is still missing in transit.
Smells like chicken.
And there's Guy Fawkes. Remember the 5th of November. With the gunpowder plot. But if you want to hear more about that, go listen to our Rack episode, the finale of season 1. I don't need to get all back into Guy Fawkes. We already talked about him once.
Wasn't Jeremy Irons that played him and the V from Vendetta? Or was it? Oh no, it was Yoke from Lord of the Rings and shit.
Yeah, was that Vigo? No,
it wasn't Vigo. No, he played
Vigo.
He played Aragorn. It's your man that played Mr. Smith and shit in Matrix. I can never remember his name. His niece is a really good actor.
Was it Hugo Weaving?
That's the one. It was Hugo.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, no, you learn something new every day.
Well, let's learn another thing new. Give us number 7.
Oh. Many horses form such close bonds with herd mates that being separated from them is very distressing. They may whinny loudly and pace the fence until they can be with their friend again. And that's not even like with another. That's like, like when you're hanging out with your best buddies and then you all hit that stage of life then when you go and you get married and you don't see each other for a while and then you're at the door kind of, let's go for a pint, let's go for a drink. And you're ready to go. That's what it's like. So it's like for me now this weekend.
Can Dan come out and play?
Yeah. That's what I'm like now leading up to this weekend and meeting the guys for a barbecue.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah. So,
sometimes.
Cannot wait. That's why I'm like now pacing the fence. Whinnying. Whining. Whinny. I never heard the word whinny so much as like, when watching Yellowstone, and sometimes I get to stick on the old subtitles because, like say, like when young lad goes to bed, shit like that, we can't have it too loud. And so we stick on subtitles all the time, and it keeps coming up background noises. Horse whinny. It's like, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Somebody who is more equestrian.
No, Winnie is
is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
That is right.
I'm learning.
I'm learning my English today. Now, there's a debate on whether horses were used at all in the English form of drawn and quartering, other than taking you to the death. Some historians say that They were used to draw the person to the gallows and then to carry the body parts to the four corners of the country, but that was it. The quartering was done by a butcher. It kind of takes all the fun out of it. But England wasn't the only place that used it. And it definitely wasn't the worst offender. No, for the most brutal form of drawn and quarter, we need to leave jolly old England and head south by southwest to Dan's favorite place to hear me try to pronounce, France.
Oh, yeah. The southeast.
Well,
England.
It's south by south, depending on what part of France you're looking at. Europe, England, it's south, and then you can go a little southeast. It's not 100% either. I was. If you head straight south, then you almost land. What is it, Spain? I guess it depends on what part of England you're in.
Yeah,
it depends on what part of England you're in. Anyway, now I have two examples. That's Geography Corner with Kevin and Dan. I have two examples of French justice. The first came after the assassination of King Henry IV by François Ravaillac. Ravioli? I don't know. That's Italian.
I'm gonna not Google it.
It's good. Yeah. Just let me just stumble through it. Yeah. Francois was, let's say, not all there, claiming to see visions instructing him to get the king to convert to Catholicism. Between Easter of 1609 and May of 1610, he made 3 separate trips to Paris to tell the king of his visions. But unable to meet with His Highness, he took the king's decision to invade the Spanish Netherlands as a call to war with the Pope. So, he decided Henry had to die. Because that's what you do. I don't like that decision you made. I'm going to murder you.
Classic way to resolve.
It's a very French way to look at it.
Yeah. Then he just gave up.
May 14th, 1610, as the king passed on the Rue de la Ferronnerie. That's how it is.
What the fuck is that supposed to be?
How it was told to me by Google. Ferronnerie.
All right.
In his carriage, Francois climbed the coach and stabbed the king to death. Just 2 weeks later, Francois was burned with sulfur and lead, his flesh torn from his body with hot pincers, and he was pulled apart by horses. Now, the main difference here between what Francois went through and what all these people in England went through was that when he was pulled apart by the horses, Francois was still alive. Yeah. You're
French.
pulling me apart.
It's love pulling. That's what it is.
You're not pulling me
apart. There you go.
Or would it be a pois? Because they never pronounce their T's. A pois.
Yeah, pulling me apart. He says wearing his little beret with his little skinny cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
Real skinny.
His little cup of coffee and everything.
Cheese in his pocket. A Jerry Lewis VHS playing in the background.
Cheese and I don't know why.
I surrender.
Yeah. You're the being quartered for not knowing why you like cheese. We all must know why we like cheese.
I need wine. Then there is Robert François Damiens, a.k.a. Robert le Diable, or Robert the Devil. Now, old Bobby Frankus here was pissy because the French Catholic clergy refused to grant Holy Sacrament to the members of the Jesuit sect because they were seen as problematic for developing political and philosophical opposition to royal absolutism. So Bobby boy decided, what else? Kill the king.
Sure,
you're not going to do what I want? Well, I'm going to kill this motherfucker.
Sure, why not? Like, look, if do you think that'll work?
Yeah.
If all other avenues have been exhausted, then
Listen, I'm not going to come out on a podcast that can be heard worldwide and say that if you don't like what's happening in your country that you should kill your leaders. It's not what I'm saying at all. You shouldn't do that. But just go with your heart.
If those leaders happened to have the name Donald followed by, the name of a tower, let's say, then if that's what you want to do.
There's many that I could see somebody wanting to do that to. There are people who sit on certain courts that make horrible decisions that affect hundreds of millions of people's lives.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that you should do it. Do not do it, but go with your heart. Yeah. Do what you feel you need to do, but I am not endorsing it.
We do not condone your actions.
No, we don't. If anything, this is a podcast about not killing people.
Ironically.
But you do what you need to do.
Yeah.
So
Tay-Tay will be very upset with anybody who does these things. And we don't want Tay-Tay upset.
You just hear it on the news and this person got axed and they're wearing a torture hat. And it's just like, fuck. I mean,
Taylor
it's great
Swift has
publicity,
stated she's
but
quite upset about the recent events that took place in her name. They'd have to go buy the hat first, buy the hat, buy the merch, then do that shit if that's what you want to do. But if you're going to,
come on here, we in no way condone what had happened. In the background noise, you just hear applause.
Yeah. It's this weird little Irish man in my head told me what to do. With the leprechaun, he told me to burn things. Nobody believe you.
So on January 5th, 1757, at 4 p.m., as King Louis XV was entering his carriage at the Palace of Versailles, Robert rushed past the bodyguards and stabbed him with a penknife. He was then arrested right there. Now, this goes to show just how fucking weak and pathetic the royals are. The king's warm winter coats were way too thick for the relatively small penknife, and the stab only resulted in about a 1 centimeter deep cut in the king's chest. But, I feel the vapors.
The horror. I'm going cold.
But Louis was bleeding. So he immediately called for a priest or a confessor because he was sure he would die. And then when his queen ran to his side...
My body is going to surrender. There is blood.
And when his queen ran to his side, he started confessing all of his affairs and asking for forgiveness like an idiot.
And then the priest comes in and just puts a bar-needed dinosaur fucking band-aid on it. You're good to go, Chief.
I'm going to die. Oh, is that Mickey Mouse?
Yeah. You just really want to kiss the boo-boo better.
I've never seen a band-aid so pale that it matches my skin. My precious royal...
Oh, get me the cheese.
It just reminds me of those people that'll be on a plane and the turbulence will get so bad they think they're gonna come out of the air and die, and they start confessing all this shit to these people next to them they don't even know.
Yeah.
and then it smooths out and they're like, never mind.
Yeah. So you were joking too, right?
I cheated on you years ago. I want a divorce. And it's like, I was just playing. Like the
Remember when people say piss in
your
your cornflakes? I literally pissed in your cornflakes.
Kind of funny.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die. It's like the second to last Seinfeld episode when the plane's going down and Elaine almost tells Jerry that she's in love with him, but it levels out.
It's wrong. I never really watched Seinfeld, but I was watching the thing of Jim Carrey doing the Seinfeld impersonations there recently.
Yeah.
What's that about?
On Mad TV.
What's that about?
What's the deal? Shaking his head. Go ahead and give us we did 8, 7, 5, and 3. Give us 4.
Asleep on their feet. It actually has an exclamation mark. Asleep on their feet. while horses have an average of 1 to 3 hours of deep sleep while lying down each day, they mostly take short naps standing throughout a 24-hour period. Ironically, that is very similar to me. So
I was about to say, I do much the same thing.
Yeah. So
I feel like most hooved animals sleep for portions of the day while standing.
Oh yeah, so they can get the fuck out of there in case of
something.
something.
So you'd be like, "Ooh, what's that? What?" Oh,
Yeah.
and then take off. Yeah,
Yeah.
Because hooved animals are very skittish. For anybody who's ever been to a zoo and gone, "Oh!" and they just take off running. That's the most fun thing in the world to do. It's kind of mean, but just go up to one of the pens or whatever your local zoo has, and any of the hooved animals just walk up and go, "Oh!" and they'll just fucking take off running.
Such an asshole.
Yeah. Listen, I worked at a zoo for many years. You have to entertain yourself somehow.
Addy, we're going to the zoo. We're going.
I'll be back. Just take your recording equipment with you.
Yeah.
Your camera and everything.
This is Daniel Hurden reporting live from Dublin Zoo. We're standing outside the deer enclosure, even though we have plenty of wild deer here. I don't know why the hell they're after shoving them all up inside these cages. But we're going to go try this right now, people. Yes, it works. They're running around like fucking idiots.
March 28th, 1757, Robert was being grabbed from his cell, said, quote, "La journée sera rude," which pretty much just translates to,
"Where is my croissant?
It's going to be a rough day.
Where is my
first,
pastry?
his legs were placed in compression devices known as boots, which we will cover in their own episode. It's quite a device, and it sounds extremely painful.
Cool.
Then he had pieces of his flesh torn away with red-hot pincers, and the hand that held the knife to assassinate the king was covered in molten lead. He was then cut open and had boiling hot oil poured into his wounds, and his genitals were cut off. Jesus. Then his limbs were tied to horses, and they began to pull, slowly, his arms and legs gradually being torn from his body, but the ligaments gave a little bit too much resistance. And Dan, I want you to be as vivid in your imagination as you can be, because I know how much you love this stuff. The executioner had to use the knife to slice the ligaments so the limbs would fall away.
Nice.
Takes you back to Ling Chi.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Or the Blood Eagle type thing is what I was kind of thinking of nearly. Yeah,
zip those ribs.
Yeah,
but
speaking of them zipping ribs, if you imagine, has anybody here ever cut up a chicken before? Have you ever had to,
spatchcock it?
Yeah, well, even if for cutting all the different parts off to kind of spread it out a bit better, not even spatchcocking, but you have to work your way through those bones and through the ligaments and around the different joints. Oh, Sooty, sorry, cat's climbing down me and stuck his claw in because he started to slide. So he stuck his claw into my stomach. Dickhead. But or when you're doing ribs. When you're doing ribs, you gotta cut through that shit. Okay.
My ex-wife worked at a nursing home and some hospitals in the past, and she was training. Now, this is a story she told me, so take it with a grain of salt. But she was training a new kid on how to change bandages. And this one person had a pretty nasty wound. I believe it was on their leg. And so they have the little scissors that they use to cut away the bandages. Well, they cut away the bandages, and he seems to be having a real hard time with this one bandage. He can't quite get cut through it. And the guy, she says, is just rolling around on the bed, just in pain, screaming. And they can't figure out why. Dan can already tell where I'm going with this. And apparently, day-old bandages look a lot like ligaments and tendons. And he was actually in the wound trying to cut through one of his either ligaments or tendon. I'm guessing ligament. I don't know if he got all the way through. By the time it had gotten to that point, I had told her to just fucking stop.
It's like, imagine sitting there saying, "I take this bandage off, out with the bone saw." You know, off comes the leg. You just peel the bandage up from the severed leg. Put a new bandage on. Stick it back on there. Roll with the bandage.
Need to get rid of these bandages. In order to do that, I have to remove all your skin as well.
Yeah.
Took my bandage off, and now I can't move my leg. My foot's asleep. But old Bobby wasn't dead yet, so they tied his torso to a stake and burned what was left. Spectators watched the entire torture and execution for about 4 hours.
It's a long time.
Ironically enough, huh?
So that's a long time to cook a steak.
It is. You've overcooked it by then. It's done. Now, ironically enough, the royal executioner, Charles Henri Sanson, that did all this to him, would be the same one to execute Louis XVI years later. So, again, like we say, it's one big circle. All comes back around.
You should have done like 1,001 centimeter cuts of them. There you go.
Just itty bitty one. Yeah, just little stabs with the penknife. Little stabs. Each one he'd be like, "I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I'm going to die.
Oh, get me my eyes.
I have so much to confess." Now, there's some sparse evidence that shows that possibly it was also used in America during the Revolutionary War. Americans versus Americans, loyalists versus patriots. You were for the English side, you captured a patriot and did it. If you were for the American side, you captured a
And the French got involved in that as well, didn't they?
The French did. If it weren't for the French, we probably wouldn't have won our independence. They really gave the English a good distraction, so we could kind of.
So, hey, who are all those guys over there waving those white flags? Yeah. I'm over here. Well, the Yankee Doodles sneaking up behind them. We got him, son.
Your father smells of elderberries.
Elderberries, yeah.
Dirty English kniggets. Dan and I were talking about Monty Python just yesterday. Where'd you get the coconut?
Yeah. Apparently they used them because they couldn't afford horses.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, and somebody said, like, how would just tap a couple of coconuts together and for the sound, for the audio, right? The whole idea was that they film it to look like he's up on a horse and not panned out, so he's like, looks like he's riding on a horse, and they just have the audio guys doing, but they're like, oh, fuck this. Actually have him in the background doing it. It's so funny.
And it's genius. It was just fucking genius. Holy Grail is one of the best movies of all time. I always have a hard time deciding between Holy Grail or Life of Brian, because they're both so fucking good.
I think Holy Grail is a better film, but you know me, I love a good old Jesus Christ crucifixion and all that stuff. But The Life of Brian is one of these ones that kind of holds more kind of memories for me. Let's say, like, it was one of the, like, back when I was growing up, we spent a lot of time at my grandmother's house, and we had this VHS collection sitting there, and there's tons of The Simpsons recorded. Yeah, that she, like, whenever it was on, she'd record it for us and make sure that we had episodes. And had things like Grease, Aliens, Terminators, and all this stuff. And Life of Brian was there. Holy Grail wasn't. I didn't see the Holy Grail for years. I saw Life of Brian, loved it. Then I saw the Flying Circus thing, and I wasn't quite as big of a fan of it. And I was just like, oh, maybe it's a one-hit thing for me with them, blah, blah, blah. And then it was a long time later, then I saw the Holy Grail, and I was like, where have you been all my life? Like,
I can watch Flying Circus. Until the last couple seasons where John Cleese wasn't there anymore, and it wasn't near as good. But those first handful of seasons, I think they're fucking amazing. I see Life of Brian as the better movie, but I feel like Holy Grail is more quotable.
Oh God, yeah.
I quote Holy
100%
Grail
it is.
daily. I'm saying something from Holy Grail, but I don't say a Life of Brian quote for
Thou shalt count to 3.
3.
Was
Is
it-
that what that should
yeah.
count?
Was it 6 is right out?
The Holy Hand Grenade. Every
every scene in it is actually.
It's so fucking
What is
good.
your favorite color?
It's so goddamn good. Anyway, give us. You know what? Fuck it. Give us number 1.
Oh,
you fuckers thought I was going to wait till the end to get number 1. Haha, swerved you.
horses are officially better than me. Did you know that horses can grow mustaches? It's true.
I feel like I've seen a horse with a mustache
Certain,
before.
especially hairy breeds can grow mustaches. Yeah, they'd be like the what's your man's name? I can never remember his goddamn name, and yet I love him in everything I ever see him in. Sam Elliott, like the Sam Elliott.
That's the first person I thought of.
Damn, I love Sam Elliott.
You see him walking around with a horse with a mustache, and the horse looks at you like, "Hello, how are you doing?"
Yeah.
He's just Sam Elliott's not even on him. He's just out in the stables, and you walk by, you're like, "How are you?" Like, you're Sam Elliott's horse.
Oh, damn,
Now we can't put it all on the Europeans. Other places in the world use horses to dole out punishment. So let's jump over, still the early 13th century, to the Mongol Empire and their leader Genghis Khan. Now the Mongols spilled a lot of blood, enough to turn rivers red and stain the ground. They actually changed the climate with the amount of people they slaughtered. So, yeah.
Yeah, well,
And it
Greta
would seem
Thunberg,
to many-
give them a call, Greta. You know, how dare you?
They actually made the world a little cooler by the amount of people that they killed. So that's what we need.
It's all that lack of methane, all the lack of farting, you see, is what that
Lack
is.
of farting, lack of shitting. Yeah. Of course, now you had all these decaying bodies, which didn't help
The
a
lack
whole
of
lot.
wives complaining and blowing hot air.
He really does enjoy being married, Allison.
Oh, yeah, I do,
I
yeah.
don't make any jokes so much. He really does enjoy it.
I make those jokes in front of her and to her mother also. we only over her mother's earlier on, and I said something, and her mother was like, "What?" She's like, "Ignore him. He's only being a brat. Just ignore him." He's grand. All right.
Damn the brat. Now, it would seem to many that they were just barbarians that rode across the country, slicing down everyone and anyone they wish. But that's not 100% true. I mean, they killed a shit ton of people, don't get me wrong. But even they had their ideals and rules to live by. In Mongol heritage, spilling the blood of a royal or a noble offended the sky god Tengiri and defiled the earth spirit Iji. It was a religious sacrilege to spill honorable blood in the face of the gods, and not spilling blood was actually seen as a sign of respect. Not to mention that according to Mongol tradition, the spilling of blood onto the ground when killing or being killed would cause the victim not to exist in their version of an afterlife. The person who died would not be allowed to...
Like,
huh?
They roll out the plastic sheeting for a fight then, like, or
We shall kill you all, but first. You just got a bunch of like painters come in with canvas and lay it down everywhere.
the world's biggest Dexter kill room.
Every person that they killed, they took to a Dexter kill room.
Yeah.
There's a line 19,000 miles long of just people.
Plastic
Bring 'em in.
sheeting.
Next.
Yeah.
Now serving number 51,000. It's just like a Beetlejuice style waiting room.
Yeah, that'd be
Sucks to be you.
Wanna get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Like Batman.
Anyway, sorry for interrupting you.
The person who died would not be allowed to become an ancestor. They would, in essence, become nothing. Now, if royal blood was spilled, the belief was that it would precede terrible natural disasters. Now, they had many ways to do this, from molten metal to drowning to suffocation, of which we will cover more in depth when we do our Genghis Khan series. I mean, you have to do a series on Genghis Khan if you're talking about, horrible history. But for today, we will actually focus more on Hulegu, Genghis Khan's grandson. So Hulegu decided that he wanted Baghdad and began making demands of its leader, Al Musta'sim. Now, Al Musta'sim decided to ignore these demands because his advisors were apparent idiots. So Hulegu said, "Hey, sir, do you know these men that have killed millions of people across Asia?" "Yes." "Don't listen to them. It's fine."
Yeah. Awful. Just blowing hot air. That's all that shit
We'll
is.
be okay.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen? So Hulegu said, fuck it, and laid siege to the city. And in February of 1258, they entered the city gates, at which point Al Musta'sim and his 300 officials hurried to present their surrender. It's like, oh, he's inside. It's like, all right, I'll take care of it. Now, it's not clear on how the 300 officials were killed, but 10 days after the surrender, Al Musta'sim was wrapped in a large carpet, and Hulegu's men were ordered to trample him with their horses. And since no blood technically touched the ground, all was good in the world. Hulegu then went on to sack Syria before returning to Persia. Some historians say he was beaten with fists instead, but since we have no real way of ever knowing, we'll just stick with the horses trampled him to death because it's it fits over time.
I've seen that, and I have my pop culture reference for that one already. Anyway,
Awesome.
I don't even having to look it up.
Awesome.
That's called doing good work on the podcast, people. Preparation.
So why horses? Well, give us number 5. I don't think we've done that
we
one
already
yet.
did that one.
Did that one?
Horses
6.
recognizing emotions.
See, this is why you go.
And this actually continues from number 5, though. So I'll reread number 5 for you, right? So number 5 is studies have shown that horses recognize positive and negative emotions in humans, right?
Right.
Then it says here, continuing from the last fact, a horse can also remember what your emotional state was when they last saw you. So being calm and cheery and gentle can be important when meeting the same individual horse regularly. Again,
just imagine you're in the
just like being married.
You're in the stables, and all the horses are like, "Oh, this guy, he's depressed as fuck."
Yeah.
I'm worried about this dude. I don't know what he's gonna do next. Why are we parked underneath this tree? Why is he putting that rope around his neck?
If only they could talk. It's okay, Tom. Don't worry about it. Everything will be okay. Let's go for a ride now. Okay.
Well, then, no, you get that one dickhead horse who's like, do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Fuck you, Tom.
So why horses? Well, it should come to no surprise to you that horses are big, really big, and strong. Really strong. So a regular full-size horse can measure anywhere
fast.
From 14...
Really fast.
14... They're fast. From 14 hands, 56 to 58 inches, 142 to 146 centimeters, or 4.5 feet tall on all fours, to 18.2 hands, 74 to 76 inches, 189 to 193 centimeters, or just over 6 foot. Clydesdales being on the larger side, sometimes up to 6.5 feet tall, or 20 hands. Why do we measure horses in hands, you might ask, Dan?
I don't know. I'm assuming because it's really hard to measure them in feet when you're lying back like this, putting your leg up like that.
You are not too far off.
Yeah, because you can go like this and shit. I assumed it was actually
turn your hand
physical.
the other way.
It's like that
way?
way?
Yes, that way.
Oh.
So the Egyptians...
So horizontal, not vertical.
The Egyptians actually came up with the hand measurement around 3000 BC. Now, they were known to use many things, body parts and seeds and such, as forms of measurement.
6 penises long.
It's 13 penises high. Well, what about that dude over here? Well, for him, it's only 6.
Yeah. For dunk.
Let me whip this out.
It's
That's
like
a Blazing Saddles
arm
reference.
holding an apple.
Now the hand is it's the width of the palm, including a closed thumb, which back 3000 BC was about 3.7 inches. Now we jump up about 4,000 years to King Henry VIII. There you go. It's a horse. You jump up about 4,000 years to King Henry VIII and the Horse Act of 1540, where he established the measuring and standards of horses bred in England. The hand, now seen as a full 4 inches, or 10.16 centimeters, would be the way going forward, and that's just how it's been ever since.
Imagine just sitting there measuring out. They're like, "Hey, so are we going to measure these horses? How about your hand?" Right? And they're like, "Okay, so put your hand up." It's like, "Well, how much is that?" He's like, "Well," cracks out measuring tape. About 4 inches.
4 inches.
Okay.
Now put that away. I got measuring.
Double check my measurements. I count 16 hands.
Measure once, cut twice.
Yeah.
So if you ever wondered why we measure in horses and hands instead of feet or centimeters, now you know. So you can thank the Egyptians and blame the English.
You should measure hands and horses. That's like 0.0528 horses. That's how big my hand is.
How big is your hand? About a 16th of a horse.
Yeah. Thereabouts.
Now, horses can weigh anywhere from 900 to 1,000 pounds for racing horses, to work horses coming in at a whopping 1,800 pounds, and are strong enough to pull up to 3 times their own weight and carry up to 20% of their own weight. And they have a bite force of 500 pounds per square inch, which is about the same as an English Mastiff. And they can run 25 to 30 miles per hour.
And all of their teeth are like fucking... They don't have incisors, right? Like they fucking... Like they're herbivores, so like if you got bitten by
they're
a
all
horse,
molars pretty much.
Yeah, if you got bitten by a horse, it would be like... Yeah, it'd be...
Yeah.
It'd be like getting your hand slammed in a door. Like, fuck that. Yeah, no thanks.
So all of what I just told you, how big a horse is, how much they weigh, how strong they are, none of that really matters when it comes to our fourth and final way horses were used to torture, because the horse wasn't even alive to do anything.
So forget all that information.
Forget everything I've just told you. The size of the horse, I guess, would matter, like the sheer mass of the horse, but everything else doesn't really matter. Okay, see, we did... which ones have we... this is number 10. Have we done number 10 yet?
We have, yeah.
Number 9?
No. Horses apparently have a lot to say. Horses communicate through vocalizations, body language, and facial expressions. The only facial expression I've ever seen them do is like this. Let me say I've not been around horses that much. A whinny can hold negative or positive emotions depending on the tone, length, and situation.
Well,
so it's like a sigh, nearly. It's like...
Only horse faces I've ever seen made were the ones that Sarah Jessica Parker makes.
Yeah.
Oh, taking her down.
I should have sent that picture onto you. Actually, got it. It's just pretty. It's a perfectly timed photo, and what it is a woman walking along with a horse, but she's turned her head, so all you see is the horse's face with long, flowing blonde hair. I sent it on to the lads, and I was like, "There's Sarah Jessica Parker out for a walk," and nobody got it. That's like, really. It's
a really mean thing to say because she looked really good in Hocus Pocus, but that was 30 years ago. Tan's head's gonna fall off. He's nodding it back and forth so much.
Teenage Dan.
Okay, so we've done 10.
Not even.
9, 8. Have we done 7 yet?
Yep.
6.
Yep. Just when you remember when they last saw you.
Yeah, we done. Okay, we've done 5. Have we done 4?
Yep. That's the sleeping on their feet. And then we have
3.
3 was... We've done them all except for 2.
All right, well, we'll save 2 for the last because sometimes second is best. Now we head back to the days of Nero and the Christian martyrs, the early days of Christianity. Now, first you would be taken outside the city. Already staged at that area of your death was laying a cut-open, dead horse. The victim would first have their limbs broken, obviously. Then they would be shoehorned into the body of the dead horse. Now, where the dead horse came from, whether it was already dead or if they killed it for this reason, I don't know. Like to think not, but... Anyways, after being smashed into the cavity of this cut-open horse, you would then be sewn in, and the carcass would be left to rot. Left to be eaten by all the various types of animals, jackals, wild dogs, wolves, vultures. And once they got through the horse meat and found the victim inside, well, what are they going to do? Not eat you alive? Come on.
That's when you jump out and it goes, surprise! It's like one of those
like
birthday
a stripper
cakes.
in a birthday cake.
Yeah.
You just start dancing.
They eat through and they find Luke Skywalker sitting there, slowly but surely coming back up to temperature.
And I thought they smelled bad. On the outside. If you're wondering, we're talking about the tauntaun that gets ripped open and Luke gets shoved inside to keep him from freezing to death.
Yeah.
That was the Star Wars reference from earlier. If you can figure, if you're listening to this show and you haven't been able to figure that out yet, then I don't know what to do for you.
Yeah, and after the show, last time we were talking about the toy of that too.
Yeah.
So, but you wouldn't know anything about that. Anybody, Sam would, but an awful lot of you guys wouldn't know anything about that because you got to be Patreon.
That's right.
So, sign up. And
click that bell, subscribe, leave a review.
Sort now, fucking subscriptions out.
Now that's, you get eaten alive, and that's if you haven't already suffocated from the fumes of decomposition inside the horse by that time. It's why animals expand after they die, because of all the decomposition. Then they explode.
So I've farted in a car before, I'll be okay. Fine.
I've had White Castle. I know what I'm doing. Now, there's also a myth told in Spain, I believe, that they would sew women inside horses, but they would cut the horse's head off, hopefully after it died a peaceful death in its sleep after living a long, fruitful life.
Roaming the pastures, eating the green grass.
They've drawn their last caricature.
Yeah. Having their salt licks whenever they want. Being serenaded by Lisa Simpson on the saxophone. Then slowly drifting off into a peaceful sleep to run through the meadows with their favourite, their pen friend or whatever the fuck they called it in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you can cut the horse's head off and turn them into glue all you want.
Do whatever you want then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, they would cut the head off and slit the body open and then sew a person inside, leaving the person's head exposed through the neck hole in order to turn them into a real-life centaur just before they die.
New D&D idea! It's like a centaur, but they have 3/4 DNA from a fucking horse or some shit, and it's just his head.
You're just a horse with a human head.
You even have like the little tiny arms from your man. What's the movie, the Tim Curry one? The mashed potato thing.
Oh, that was Chris Elliott.
Yeah.
In
just little hands
Scary
like
Movie
that.
2.
It was a scary movie, but yeah, it was. Yeah.
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 Don't take that hand. Take my strong hand.
Yeah. Oh.
Which is actually a Mandela effect. He doesn't actually ever say, take my strong hand. He said, that's my weak hand. Take this hand. And he tries to give him the little...
Yeah.
No, give me the other one. I don't want it. David Tell falls to his death. Or not David Tell. David Cross falls to his death instead of taking the hand.
That'd be hilarious.
Now, it should be stated that the information on the validity of this specific punishment is extremely lacking, and other than Lucian's Dialogues of the Dead, which were mostly mythological content-wise, we don't have a ton to go off of if this actually happened or not, but it's interesting to think about. Dan, go ahead and give us number 2. Finish it off.
Horses cannot burp, vomit, vomit, whatever that is, because it doesn't end with a H. Horses cannot burp, vomit, or breathe through their mouths. They can only breathe through their noses.
I have heard that they can't vomit. I didn't know they couldn't burp.
Ooh.
I can't imagine a life of when I can't burp.
But see, the thing is, they just let the gas go at the other end.
Yeah, but still. I wonder if maybe the muscles in the esophagus are just so strong that it won't let anything come back up.
Yeah, maybe they're just that hardcore,
I guess. Anyway, next time you see a horse, be sure to give it all the respect it deserves, because who knows, in another life, one of them could have been ripping you apart.
Yeah.
Dan, any pop culture, which I know there is a ton out there.
Any Western movie, most Western
Pretty
shows, you're going to have the drawing. You're going to have the whole thing as well of them hanging people from trees and blah, blah, blah. So,
somebody falls off their horse, is dragged, and you hear the Benny Hill music.
Yeah. The horse on the carpet trampling thing is in Marco Polo.
You had said that
a fucking brilliant show.
After last episode. Yeah.
If you haven't watched it, watch it. The only reason it was cancelled because it was like a Weinstein show and they wound all those down. And it's a tragedy that nobody picked it up because it's absolutely fantastic. I'd love to watch another series of that. Look, we all know the drawn a quarter thing. I mean, you can't not have watched Braveheart at this stage, but like you see, there's a couple of other. I know I've definitely seen it in another show or movie. It might have been, I don't know if it was Vikings or maybe it was in one of these medieval, not the Kingdom or one of those. I'm trying to remember what it was now off the top of my head. I know I've definitely seen other people doing it in movies, alright, but like, yeah, any Western, you're going to see half of these things happen in it. Even comedy Western, so they don't actually get hurt by the damn horse dragging them for 6 miles. Was it Cannonball Run? Where was it? What's his face? Gets dragged behind a horse for a while. I'm trying to remember who's even in Cannonball Run. I'm looking through lists of movies here with stuff to do with shit happening with horses. And so trying to Animal House. That's fucking the horse scene. Animal House. Did you ever see it? I assume you've seen Animal House.
Yeah, of course. Burt Reynolds.
There you go. Yeah, anything I'm looking at this here now is all fucking Western things, like The Wild Bunch and all this stuff. It's all Sleepy Hollow has a whole thing of somebody getting dragged by a horse or some shit. What the fuck? I was watching something a while back and I wish I remember what it was now, where it had a whole thing about somebody being basically torn in half by horses, which is very unrealistic because they would just torn their arms off.
Apparently in Back to the Future 3 there is horse dragging.
Marty gets dragged through town, I think, at one stage in it. And I think, isn't it, what's the man's name? The family, the dickhead, I think it begins with a B. He's like always the antagonist of, is it not like Butch or...
Oh, it's, fuck, why is it when one person can't remember a word?
Yeah, somebody else can't remember it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to...
Can't remember it either.
Look up,
it's,
God
damn, and there's people shouting at their radios right now.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
They're
radios, this is 2024, Kevin. They don't listen to radios anymore.
Hey, you know what? Smart speakers might as well be radios.
Biff.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Biff gets dragged through. Does that happen when he ends up with in the horse shit? He gets dragged through, I think, or something ends up in horse shit. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Well, he ends up in horseshit in all the movies.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but yeah, it's one of the, I'm pretty sure there's a thing in Westworld as well. Somebody getting dragged. There's actually an awful lot of things people getting dragged around in Westworld because I'm assuming you've seen the first 2 seasons of Westworld. What if you haven't watched the first 2 seasons of Westworld? Give up.
I saw the entire first season and then a couple episodes of the second season before I just kind of fell out of it.
Yeah. I'd say the first 2 are absolutely fantastic, but there's a decent bit of that, and it seems to anything to the Western. I think they always try and throw in as much of that as they possibly can.
Yeah.
But the home-drawn quartered thing, there's not as much.
Yeah.
Apologies. I'm yawning.
No, we didn't take our nap time. We're supposed to take our nap time in the middle of the show, aren't we?
What's the deal?
Because we're
quartering.
What's the deal? We're dragging behind a horse. What's the deal with this makeshift centaur?
It's just a head.
Thank you to our patrons, Willow, Quinn Fowler, Nevin, and our newest Inquisitor, Sam Brer. If you would like to sign up for our Patreon, go to patreon.com/torturepod. I got a bunch of stuff up there for you. Extended episodes, ad-free episodes, all that stuff. If you sign up for our Inquisitor tier for 3 months in a row, you can get a free gift, which is a nice fancy little mug that I designed.
Yeah, baby.
I have to say. And I like it. And you'll get a free sticker sent your way. You can also sign up for a free 1-week subscription to our Cult Leader tier, which is our second highest tier. And you can still get all the good stuff just without the mug sent to you. If you would like other ways to support us, you can go to redbubble.com/people/torturepod and buy some of the merch. Again, everything marked with pride in the name. All the proceeds will go to the Trevor Project. You can also go to our link tree on all of our socials, which is Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, which I don't ever really use. It's not X. Fuck you, Elon. All those at TorturePod. You can buy us a coffee or buy us a pizza at buymeacoffee.com/torturepod. Let's see what else. I just kind of ramble off the top of my head.
They should have renamed it Twatter, and he took over.
I'll send you a twat.
He's a fucking twat.
You can email us, torturepod@gmail.com. I would really, really love to get more emails, even if it's just a, hey guys, I've been listening for a while, I like the show. Or a, hey guys, you fucking suck, and then tell us why. That's fine too.
Yeah.
And if you don't want us to read them on the air, then just say, please don't read this. And that's fine. I don't care. But send us some emails, torturepod@gmail.com. You can also go to our YouTube, youtube.com/torturepod. There's a theme here. You can also support, thank you to our sponsors. You can support us by supporting them. Big thanks to podup.com and thebeardstruggle.com and all the others. Hopefully, very soon, I won't have to rattle off 19 different places for you to go to support or connect with us working on something. But more on that as details progress. Hint for our next episode. Revenge is a dish best served piping hot with birds.
Sounds lovely.
It's I've been waiting to do this one for a while. It's something else.
Chicken pot pie.
We could literally change the name of the whole podcast to Revenge from Torture. It's great. Dan, any words of wisdom?
This is quite an ironic one as well now, and I hope you get why it's ironic when I say it. Right. But and it fits in perfectly with the theme of today's episode. But never look a gift horse in the mouth. Has a bit of a triple entendre right there. Because to be fair, come on, it was low hanging fruit. The whole horse thing is if I did not say it, that would be looking a gift horse in the mouth. Just don't do it, people, because they bite you.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
All other horse.
All right, well, that's all we got.
On a steel horse, I ride.
I am not a Bon Jovi fan.
Goodbye.
I'm just not.
I grew up with them playing all that, so like I like Knopfler. So I haven't listened to stuff
that's
for
the
years,
thing.
so.
I grew up with him playing. I think that might be one of the reasons I don't like him. My older brother, is a gigantic Bon Jovi fan, and he would take us where we needed to go back. And every time we got in, he had fucking Bon Jovi playing on his car, and I think that might have just killed it for me. I'm not a Bon Jovi fan. He also listened to like a lot of Cinderella and Rat. He was a big hair metal guy, so
Right. Yeah.
Whatever.
I get it.
But I'm not saying anything bad about Bon Jovi as a person. I'm just not big on his music.
I remember saying before, I was like,
want.
I was wondering like how if Bon Jovi is such a fucking heartthrob and such a hit with the ladies, why are all his songs about fucking women leaving him and being heartbroken? You know, I was I love you, but he's obviously a dick then. If every just thing of fucking girls leaving his ass every now and again, you know.
All right. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. And we'll see you.
Thank you.